Hello everybody, welcome to, what do we name this one? It's not up on the screen. I don't remember. Magic Marvel. Magic Marvel. Magic Marvel. We're going to be painting up some magical effects and just the philosophy and artistic notions and thoughts behind painting up all the magical effects you're going to see in your Marvel miniatures. Because many characters have these mystical or magical effects that we like to represent to show the dynamic and characteristics of those characters. So we're going to go over a few simple steps to get you going on that path. So let's kick it over to the mini cam. Boop. That's just how I sound. How do I sound? Echo? Yeah, I have my own personal reverb. Do you see this on the screen? I can't see the screen, so I see not the screen. So I'm going to start with this neat portal from the upcoming Doctor Strange. And I love this effect. This was one of those really neat things to get to design. And kind of posed a lot of neat challenges for the engineering and the sculpt team. I do recommend painting this in subassembly, so leaving the Doctor Strange off, painting this, that's why this is off, so we can go over it. I like to prime with zenithal. This gives a white undertone. And then I'm going to just use a bright yellow wash to lay on yellow wash. Washes are paints that seep into the crevices, the nooks and the crannies. If you really like English muffins, you know what I'm talking about. Seeps into all the little nooks and crannies and gives it that nice contrast. And this is the kind of base to what we're going to do. We're going to do several layers on this. Also, the little dark dimension bits, we're going to go ahead and throw that wash on there because you're probably going to be messy and hit them anyways. So we're going to utilize that later. So hopefully I can get through all this in an hour. I got so much to do in an hour. I always feel like my streams at Ministravaganza is like it's set up to like how much can he do in an hour? Yesterday felt like that. Did so much in an hour. All right, while that dries, we're going to move to the next project. That's what I like to do. I like to have two projects going on. Are we on the mini cam? Yeah, we're on the mini cam. Sounds much better. Sorted out. Awesome. So this, of course, is Magic. One of my favorite characters. Oh my gosh, getting this character into Marvel Crisis Protocol was such a dream for me. And this pose is super epic. It really shows off that soul sword, which is so key and vital. And once again, what I've done is I've done the zenithal prime. So this gets that white and black contrast to show the volume of each element. But then what I do is like when I see these elements, I'm like, okay, well I know this is going to be super bright and this magical effect. I'll come in and I'll really get rid of all the black from the primer. You can see maybe here on Gambit, I leave a lot of the black primer, but then on those cards and that magic effect, right, you kind of blast it out. You can do this with a brush. You don't have to use an airbrush. Without the big portal. This goes down. This is all one piece, and it connects right there, in case you're wondering. And then I did a quick wash of light blue over the white. Not vital, but it gives me a starting foundation. The first thing I want to do is I want to kind of go the opposite way on this one. I want that center of that soul sword to be hot white, to just be vibrant and intense. Because that's such a vital and important aspect to Ileana. So as we know, the washes settle into recesses, the nooks and crannies. So the blue settled into that those nooks and crannies, but because we want the reverse effect, we have to come in with white and start working that away. You can also use an off-white if the effect calls for it. I use a lot of, if you've watched many of our streams, a lot of times I'll start with an off-white. We're just gonna bake in some of these lines to give it contrast. Things that are hot have a reverse effect. Instead of the deep recesses being shadowy, heat gets hot. When things are hot, they glow from the inside. So it's the reverse. So just throwing a wash on sometimes doesn't give you the effect you're looking for. You have to come back and build in that heat into the center. Now, funny thing is, a lot of times when you're painting miniatures, when you're painting a fire, there's a lot of fire effects. I know on Dormammu, a lot of times you can ignore that rule and go ahead and just do the deep centers as shadow, and it still looks good. So if you're not feeling super courageous and you feel like maybe you might not be ready, that's okay. Just do it the normal way and don't think about how it normally works. Rule of cool is better. We'll do some. All this is going to be covered, but this just starts building up those foundational areas to work from. I want the center of the portal. Like I said, that's where the action is. So you want to draw attention there. So making it bright is very important. So I'm going to just brighten that up. Just like this. Doesn't have to be perfect. It can be very messy and it'll still look really, really cool. You can do it. It might be intimidating at first, but you give it a try and you practice, you fail. That's okay. It's not a fail if you had fun or you learned something. There's a post-it note on my desk at home that says, "Fear regret, not failure." So I'd rather try something and not do good at it than just not try it at all. Now all this will be covered as we progress through the steps. I just want to give it that something to work from. Since you need that white to start working into other colors. Create that swirl effect. All right, let's go darker. Did I get my brushes back? Yeah, Schick stole them. I got them back. That rapscallion. So like I said, the soul sword glows with inner power. So we want the edges to be dark and the center to be light. So we're going to use our black brush, blend brush, to start working those edges darker. Look at that mean mug. I absolutely love this character. Working on this pose, there's a whole lot of going to references and seeing different ways to portray overhand leap with a giant sword, because you kind of want that body line, that gesture line to really read well. So I watched a lot of videos and references from different things. And we did very few iterations, actually. We did do a version at the very beginning of her kind of standing stoically, but it was just immediately like, I mean, Shik and I were both immediately just like, no, Ileana's a badass, like, and I want her to look like it. I want her to... There's a really great scene in the current Hickman run. I just love the panel where Scott goes, "Captain, can you hold him off?" And Ileana responds with, "Grr." And I was just like, yep, that's what I'm talking about. And she just unleashes fury into some invading brood. I was like, that's what I want to capture, right? And then, of course, I show it to Marco, and this is the one where he was like, okay, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. This is not a problem. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So she came together very quickly, very easily, in sculpt, in concept. I'm just working those dark areas. I feel like I live at the office. Riseman, I love the teleportation effect, and sculpt looks beautiful. Thank you very much. I agree. I think the team just knocked it out of park with this. This is also one of those ones, like, there's a couple characters, like, I get really hands-on. I was definitely very hands-on here. It's like, no, that's, yeah. Do this. I don't think Kevin's had to deal with me with one of those yet, have you?
Not quite.
Let me tell you, Ghost Rider's motorcycle, I was all up in that one. Growing up with a family of motorcycle enthusiasts, let me just say, I was talking about ape hangers and the rake, and everybody's just like, okay, so yeah, just tell us what you want. New to wet pellets, how do you know when too much water is on the pellet? Water should float on top of the pellet, but shouldn't be sloshy. So there should be no water on top of the paper at all. The paper, a good wet pellet has nice porous paper and just doesn't really pull water up through it or anything like that, but allows the paint setting in the pellet to maintain its looseness so you can keep it working. So you don't want water sloshing in the pellet or anything like that. A little tricky to get in there, rotate it around, get it from the back. There we go. Now I'm just being real sketchy. Just slop some paint. Just keep going in a circle around this magic portal. Something like that. You're looking, actually I really like Windsors. I think they're a very good brush. But honestly, whatever works best for you is the best brush. I know professional artists that are amazing miniature painters who use the cheapest brushes they can get. A good soft sable watercolor brush is what you need. I tell people all the time, like, this is all dependent on how you paint as well. Everybody has a different approach or style. So sometimes brushes don't need to be for you what they are for me. For me, a brush has to have a big belly. And those are great big bellies. That's the center part or the barrel, either way. And then a tiny point, right? So the point is important because that's precision. The belly is important because that's the reservoir, right? That's where the paint lives and resides before you apply it. So if you have like a little 3-hair brush and you put paint in there, it doesn't have enough belly to hold it. And you come in and you're like, go to touch the miniature and it's all dried out. Like, that's why. So I like a big bellied brush with a super fine point. I like precision and control because it's the way I paint also. I feel like I missed something in that though. I feel like I forgot part of my spiel. So I'm just using a darker blue, and I'm pushing this right to the edge of that sword blade because, like I said, I want to kind of encompass the blade, frame it. That was the wrong blue. So you want to go dark to light. You can create little effect lines and stuff with a blend. Like this. Just by dragging paint up. I watched a professional painter, one of just the best painters, one of my favorite painters, I guess. And they were painting this pretty large element with just the tiniest brush and these little tiny dots. And I was like, that's just not for me. That's just not the way I paint. And that's fine. That's the way he paints. As long as you get the effect you want, as long as you're happy with that effect, as long as you spend time doing what you love and enjoy, that's all that really matters. You know, until you start getting into competition and, you know, or trying to make a living doing it, then you have to start asking different questions about art and what it means to you, painting and what it means to you. Because at that point, you got to start thinking like, well, sometimes you got to do stuff that It's not for enjoyment necessarily. I mean, you still enjoy it, but it's still a job and you gotta get it done. Like the song says, when you got a job to do, you gotta do it well. So we're just going back and forth between light and dark here. We're just building up the light and dark. What we got here? Do you wash with soap your brushes after every use? Invariant, I don't. I'm a terrible brush keeper. Even at home with my personal tools, I'm a terrible brush keeper. A lot of times I give them a good rinse and then I just throw them in the cup or on the desk and I go about my night. Brushes to me aren't forever friends. You know? So I'm a terrible brush keeper. When I realize I have forgotten to do it for a long time, that's usually when I go to the brush soap. Kevin, are you a brush soap every time guy?
I'm a brush soap when I remember I have it guy.
See, Kevin's the same way. Just brushes are tools. I don't expect a brush to last long with me. That being said, a really good brush can last months in the studio. I've done studio work where I've had a brush last literal months, right? And that's painting 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And it's just like, and that brush is just like, I'm here for you, and thanks, little brush, I appreciate it. Brenda did a really awesome dark blue on Magic, and I have not figured out what that blue was. It's really lovely. Are there plans to do paint stream with Colossus in the future? You never know what you'll see in the future for painting streams. I was actually painting Colossus last night on the Hangouts. If you didn't join the Hangouts, you missed out last night, let me tell you. That was a ride. This makes me feel like she's kind of jumping out one of those. I'm going to grab a little hold your blue. Jumping out one of those little, like she's at a water park or something. It's like splash. That's the color. That's what I wanted. So I'm going to just drag along and then damn brush, just touch it. Just touch the edge. I'll let that dark draw out over the surface. Ever so slightly tinting it. Now it's feeling like power. That inner glow. See, I'm just using lines, not letting them be perfect, but like building into one area that's dark and leaving other areas light. And just kind of choosing that. I chose it at the beginning. I chose those areas at the very beginning. And I just keep maintaining them, staying further and further away from the light with the dark. Now it's starting to feel like a portal. You wait till the tip starts to split or curl. You can bring brushes back to some extent. And never throw a brush away. I'd say they're not forever friends. And I've thrown away no brush ever until the point where I've decided for some crazed reason to use it to apply some super glue or something dumb like that. And then the bristles are completely just wrecked. But like I usually keep old brushes around for dry brushing or applying PVA. Or giving to friends when they come over and they forgot their brushes. I forgot my brush, dude. Oh, I got some brushes. Great. Here, how about this one? And then they look at me and I'm like, you forgot your brush. What do you want? This is what happens. Is that an AMG mug? It is. It's an AMG mug. Boom. Let's draw this down. All right, chat, what do you think so far? I'm just going to keep this swirl pattern going. Get the undersides of all these. It's always kind of fun when you're making these miniatures and you're looking at it, you're like, so it's going to be a lot to paint, but it's going to be so worth it, right? Sometimes that's what life is, you know, I always say that it's about the journey, not the destination. And it should be, you know, just growing and learning and trying new stuff. We always talk about that stuff a lot. But there is that moment when individual steps are rewarded. And when I say individual steps, I mean like an individual miniature, right? It's not about, so when I say it's about the journey, not the destination, I'm talking about the overall journey, not just the single miniature you paint or the single thing you do, but the overall where you come from in life and do with it. And so there is that point where you see something complex, right? And you're like, this is complex and this is new, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it, or it's going to take me a long time to do. And you can work and you grow and you paint it, you know, or whatever you're doing, whatever the endeavor is. And you get done and you think, how much blood, sweat, tears, you know, all the, you know, cliche things we say to each other and ourselves went into it, and how much hard work and how many times you kind of stumble and you failed, but then you sit there and you get done and you can look at it and be like, I did that. Like, I did that. I put in that work. I put in that time. And I did that thing and I'm super proud of it. And it may not be perfect. It may not be exactly how you planned it. But it's still the thing you did. And I love those moments. And it's like painting up these like complex swirly boos, right? Like you get done and you're like, I did that. I painted that up and it looks, you know, it looks freaking awesome. I said swirly boos. I think that's a real art term, right? Did you learn that in art college, Kevin? The swirly boo?
I'm gonna say yes for you.
Thanks, buddy. Kevin's my friend. A little dark underneath there. Okay, I really like where this is at. Do you think we should re-intensify the white center? All good for lemon today. Everybody was listening to me yesterday. Yes, I have my water with lemon in it. Thank you very much. Thank you for asking. It's very good for my throat. It's very nice and pleasant. It's refreshing. I needed a drink too. Thanks. My brush sequence: painting brush, wash glaze brush, dry brush, train brush, glue brush. Yeah, that's kind of the order, right? You just kind of it just evolves. It takes on new life as it gets frazzled and haggard. The brush, it gets more. You know, you have a beautiful new brush, and you're just like, you're not ready for the glue yet, buddy. And it's like, Captain, I can take it. It's like, no, you can't. You have to lay down base coats first, private. And then it advances, right? It becomes sergeant. Now it's the blend brush or the detail brush. And then suddenly it's just like, you're like, all right, buddy, you've made it. It's time to put glue on a base. And it's like, yes, sir, I'm here for it. Like, that's what, you got to think of it positively. Release the budgies. I can always count on Release to be here. I have a question for you. Hope all is well with Dallas. I'll blink twice if it's not. I didn't blink at all. If I want to make a water look on model basis, how do you approach that? I really hope one stream you do nothing but show how to do desert, water, jungle on a flat surface. That's a great stream. That's a great stream idea. You know what? BK, put it on the books. How's that? An extra white in the blade would really make it go pop. I agree. Oh, Havertz says I have a soothing and wholesome stream. Thank you. It's the opposite of me in real life. That's why Kevin is over there laughing. All right, delicate white line. Delicate white line, blend out. Delicate white line, blend out. We can make this look a little more crackly if you want to. Could be a good effect. I want to keep it a little more smooth and even temperatured. Let's go to the other side. What time is this stream over? I got 20 minutes. Okay, we're doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy with Ileana. We're going to finish this up. We're going to switch over to our Doctor Strange portal, and I'm going to approach it completely different. I'm going to approach it the more, what I call quick and dirty. We threw that wash on there, right? We're not going to go much more than that. Blend it out. Okay, now clean up that brush, get nice and clean. It's in the books. I prefer Bald Ross as my nomenclature, as the preferred nomenclature. Pure black. Oh, it's perfect hot tub weather. That's what I'm talking about. Went on vacation a while back. There was a hot tub nearby. Totally got to sit in it. It was the best. But always up here, it's good hot tub weather. Almost always. Because there's nothing better than hot tubbing in the rain. Okay. I'm going to use a side brush. Now we just did all this work on this blade, right? So we don't want to buff this up. So we're going to use the side of the brush and just barely touch the miniature. You got to be patient because you don't want to try to prevent any mistakes. Get comfortable, find my spot. See, I'm moving the brush, I'm not touching it yet. I'm training the hand and I'm getting that motion down before I commit. You know, there's an old rule, measure twice, cut once, right? Have you done anything at all? Well, see, I boffed it. See if we can get that paint out of that corner. Second brush is your friend. Nice clean brush. Cleaned it up. Painting miniatures is the fine art of correcting one's mistakes. Correcting, not correctings. Words are made up. What were we talking about? Oh, measure twice, cut once, right? Yeah. Ancient text discovered a long time ago said that measure twice, cut once. Because there's nothing worse than cutting something wrong and not having another board around. So I like to apply that to kind of everything. I mean, philosophically in your life or however you need to do it. That's the way I am. But especially in miniatures, measure twice, cut once. So that's why I always talk about dry fitting before you glue something. Make sure the pieces work. Make sure you understand why the pieces work before gluing the miniature together. Make sure your hand knows what it's supposed to be doing. Train it before just committing. Focus, take a breath, release the breath, and then apply the paint. Frank Castle knows what I'm talking about. Tiniest hair on that sword. Ah. That's just, as a great man once said, inevitable. Please tell devs Thursdays was electric, and wow. Yeah, I think all weekend has been electric. I'm super excited for literally everything. So I will tell the devs. There we go. What do you think? Yeah, I'm talking about it. What? 15? Yeah. Well, we'll get there. Question, how do you determine which undercoat color to use? Is it based off the top layers or how dark you want the effect of the paints? Yeah, that's why I use the Zenith. It shows me the volume of the elements. Also, even if I use a black undercoat, if there's an effect I want to be super bright, I paint over it with pure white or an off-white, because that gives it, if you watched any of my videos from Ministravaganza last time, Ministravaganza 1, we did special effects as well. We did glow effects. I talk about using that off-white to give the glow something to work with. You need to kind of lighten up the miniature for the glows to work. Fun fact, I'm not going to highlight this black or shade it. I could shade it, but I'm not going to shade it. Somebody in chat right now is probably going, shade black, question mark? Yeah, you can shade black. Okay, I gotta flip the measure upside down to finish this side of the sword, I think. Maybe I can do it. I'm not happy, but I'll do it. I gotta turn it upside down. So let's switch, oops. Let's switch to, can you see it? Thumbs up from the Kev. Yeah, gray and white works really, really good if you're trying to get a more poppy look. Also, don't go with just like gray and brown washes to create contrast. Sometimes you need something a little more flavorful. Like I showed just now, right? We did our magic sword. We did a little bit of blue wash first over the white. Okay, so this is the wash. We did a wash right over this orange, right? Or right over this Zenith Prime. Next thing, we're going to take some yellow, and I'm just going to highlight the tips of each of these mystic swoodles. That's a technical term. I learned it from Jack Kirby. I didn't, actually. I'm sorry. Can't lie to you, chat. Just very quickly. Take some pure white, mix it into that yellow, make it sharp. Do the same thing on the tips. If you want on the sides as well. These are just smaller lines than the previous lines. You can come down and put them in places that the other yellow isn't. It doesn't matter. It's magic. It can look crazy. Now you're not really going to see the inside, so it doesn't matter. But now for these little Kirby Cocoa Puffs, I'm going to take some magenta. Do I have a taboo paint that always gives me trouble? I don't know. I had them before, but then I practiced them. I will make that paint bend to my will. We're just going to boff some blends on there. That's right. I said boff the blends, as in I'm not doing great blends. I'm purposely making them goofy. Because I just want some magenta on those little Kirby Cocoa Puffs. The Kirby Puffs. With real crackle action. I told Josh a while back he had a piece that he was working on, and I was like, "This needs more Kirby." Oh, it was a tactic card for Crossbones and Sin, the X-BO N3S experimental blaster. And the first draft came in, and I was like, this has 0 Kirby crackle, and I don't like it. Nah, I like the piece. I just didn't like the fact that there was no Kirby crackle. And Josh was like, I'll put Kirby crackle on it. And he put Kirby crackle on it. And then as he showed it to me, I was like, this is acceptable. Thank you. Why would you not put Kirby crackle? Ugh. Need more Kirby crackle in my life. So I'm just going to slap a little blue on there. Kevin's going to tell me I got like 30 seconds. 6 minutes. I'm going to hold your blue over top of all of it, letting just a little bit shine through. Of all those different colors. Yeah, that was the fun part of that Dormammu terrain set, was a pitch idea, and it's just like, it's got to be Kirby crackle. It's got to be Kirby-esque. So going to the references and trying to figure out how to translate 2D Jack Kirby Dark Dimension art into a 3-dimensional sculpt. Like, we had a lot of fun. Want to add black to that? Once again, I'm just gonna blurp some paint all over the place. Doesn't gotta be perfect. Not here to be perfect. Let's come in with some yellow and white again. Just do a couple little dots. Technically, I should let that dry a little bit, but we're in a rush. Still a little magenta and white. A couple little dots here and there. And there's a nice little mystical portal for Doctor Strange. So hopefully that was helpful. Laying down the lumber as someone who's going to be getting into painting minis in about 6 months, what would be the most important piece of advice? Don't give up. Don't compare yourself to others when you're starting. You know, we're all on different points of the same journey. So you just got to get in there and ask questions, ask advice. You know, and don't give up. Just keep trying and learning and growing. If you see somebody whose work you really like, ask them how they did it. Most of the time you'll get a good positive answer, and people are very responsive to that. If you try something it doesn't work, ask why it doesn't work. If you can't figure out why it doesn't work, ask somebody who might understand it better and get feedback. You're giving me a number, but my head is down. What's the number? Dose. 2 minutes. We had 2 minutes to finish up our Ileana Rasputin. And I'm going to call it, because that, to me, looks like a soul sword. Although right before, when I was trying to look up and I couldn't, I touched a little bit of black in that white. So, boop, fixed. That's what I'm talking about. That's my jam. Contra Bajo, it's a good beginning. Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh criticism. I'll take it under advisement, though. We got, 1 minute? Should we kick it over to the face and say goodbye? All right, so there's some tips and tricks on how to achieve some glow effects. Remember, start with a very light color, white or an off-white, and build into it. Things that you want hot, the recesses, instead of like the normal miniature, like if you're painting chainmail, the recesses should be dark and the top should be silver. When you want something to be hot, the recesses should be light, and it should become darker as you move away from that. So it's kind of reverse. You don't have to do it all blendy like the Soul Sword. You can do something a little quicker and easier and more free form like we did on the portal. So there's a few tricks. Keep trying to paint. Keep giving it a go. Do your best. And we'll see you in a few minutes. I'm not even going anywhere. I'm just going to keep sitting here for 5 minutes and prep for the next stream. Because the next is what?
The Star Wars Legion painting mall.
Painting Mall. I'm excited.